This is the Tech Phantom, and welcome to video number 8 of this series. We are playing Dark Souls for the PS3 with the downloadable content, and I have a treat for you guys today. This is going to be a 100% lore video. I'm trying to make up for the previous video where we did a little bit of farming and I did not talk about lore as much. Alright, so another little change here. I forgot to record footage on my last character, so I had to start with a new character. Luckily, I had recorded everything down to the slider settings in the character creation menu, so I was able to recreate Tessa very, very faithfully, and I am at the same level and have the same humanity as in as our previous game save. So it's we can pick up where we left off. Alright, so this is going to be a video where we discuss the Witch of Izalith, and we are going to pretty much complete the lore for her. You can't fight her until very much later in the game, so there will be some spoilers here, but as usual, this is a walkthrough slash lore video, so spoilers are to be expected. Alright, so this is our first NPC, and actually it's very expensive to have this NPC come out and visit with you and talk with you, and that is because you need a +10 pyromancy flame in order for her to be revealed. And it costs 50,000 souls to do that, so I was able to do that offline, so you guys didn't watch me farm 50,000 souls, but the reason Queelana can see me is she refers to as a mere undead, yet you can see me. Fascinating. You must have some kind of a gift. Well, the gift is the fact that we have a +10 pyromancy flame, so we are high enough in the pyromancy arts that she shows up. So she asks us if we want to be her pupil, if we want to learn from her like Salaman learned from her, and we say yes, and she tells us that in order to pursue pyromancy we must give something up, and I think what she's talking about is that we must give up our humanity, or almost our inner self or inner soul, and a portion of that is going to go creating pyromancies. Taking a look at the Great Fireball spell, I guess this was created by Salaman, the master pyromancer, and there is a pretty big hint there that Laurentius of the Great Swamp was actually the pupil of Salaman. And we will explore Laurentius' dialogue and see if we can come back to that point. So she's talking about Salaman, who about 200 years ago was already a master pyromancer, but it was 200 years ago that he became her pupil. So Queelana is called the mother of pyromancy, and that is because she does take pupils and she does teach the pyromancy art to undead. She's also telling us that we need to be very careful about the flame because we could be engulfed by it, and she doesn't want that to happen again. So that has happened before to someone. So in order to advance her dialogue, you need to come back to this area a couple of different times, and obviously the easiest way to do that is to go ahead and load. And there you can see my 2 game saves for Tessa. So we are going to load here so that we can advance her dialogue and see what other little bit of lore information she has for us. Okay, what's up, Queelana?
It has been some time. Truth be told, I thought you had perished.
So let's talk to her here.
Witch of Izalith. Please,
She doesn't want us to talk about the Witch of Izalith.
I abandoned her.
And apparently the Witch of Izalith was her mother, and she also had sisters, and she left them, and she's now wandering the swamp. So again, this is starting to shape up into a very, very tragic story. It sounds like she misses her mother, she misses her sisters, but she can't join them. Something has happened. And let's see if she will tell us a little bit more in this next interaction with her. And actually she will, and this is where she pretty much spills her beans, and she is going to start telling us this tragic and sad story. Okay. So she's going to ask us a favor. She's going to tell us that her mother, the Witch of Izalith, who is one of the primeval lords, her power came from the so. Okay, all right. So I'm not gonna read the entire dialogue, guys. You guys can do that, but I am going to summarize it for you and tell you my what I understand or how I piece it together. So her mother found a piece of the flame near the original flame. Now, because she was so advanced in the fire arts, or because the original flame was dwindling, which is why Lord Wynn wanted to kindle the bonfires and to tie the bonfires together, the Witch of Izalith tried to create a flame, but the flame was chaotic and it actually engulfed her and turned her into a demon. And also the same thing happened to her sisters. Her sisters also were turned into demons, chaos demons. She escaped, but now she is without her family, and she asks us to please put her mother and put her sisters out of their misery, because they have been turned into demons by the chaotic flame that engulfed her mother. So why did this chaotic flame engulf her mother? Why was it that her mother, who was the most powerful pyromancer, why couldn't she contain the flames? And I think the reason is that you'll read later on in an item description that pyromancy is inherently chaotic, and that is because it's related to humanity and to the inner soul of humans. And humans are unpredictable and they have free will. So the chaos flame that came forth from Queelana when she tried to recreate the original flame, all of her inner self came out sort of in primal form, and it was very strong and chaotic. And by the way, this is the summon sign for Mildred. But anyway, this primal flame came out of her when she tried to copy the original flame, and it became this giant chaos flame. It engulfed her, and it eventually turned it into a demon called the Bed of Chaos. And from the Bed of Chaos sprung forth all of the demons in the lower parts of Dark Souls. Actually, in the entire world of Dark Souls, at least in Lordran. So not only did the flame infect and change the Witch of Izalith, it also affected the daughters of the Witch of Izalith, the daughters of Chaos. And actually this is one of them, and she has been turned into a spider woman, half nasty spider and half sexy torso, as you can see. So she is the boss of this level, and you guys are going to see that this boss fight is not really going to take very long, because I'm using Power Within, which is a pyromancy, and I'm also using a plus 10, I think it's a plus 9 at this point, great sight, so I'm going to be doing quite a bit of damage. Alright, but we see that Queelag, who has a very, very cool fire sword, immediately attacks us. So she's either hollowed, or she wants our humanity, wants our souls for something. And it's unfortunate that she was turned into a demon when she interacted with the Bed of Chaos, with the Chaos Flame. Alright, so we took care of Queelag pretty easily, and we got her soul. And it's a special soul. She's a chaos demon, and you can use it to create a unique weapon. So you can actually use this soul along with a plus 10 curved sword to create actually Queelag's Fury Sword. And because this is a chaos demon, the Fury Sword will actually be a chaos weapon. And because chaos is tied with humanity, the Fury Sword will scale with humanity. So the more humanity you have, the more damage the chaos weapons and the Fury Sword will do. So there's a nice little way to tie in chaos weapons with humanity and the scale effect. Alright, so we find the second Bell of Awakening here. So apparently defeating the Queelag demon and defeating the gargoyles were both tests, and by completing the tests we have rung both bells and we have triggered an event. So we have awakened perhaps this giant, and he is going to clear the path for us to move forward, and he is using a giant chain to open up a door, and it looks like it's right outside of the old church, and so that will allow us to proceed forward. And there's a cool scene where you can see the bell tower, and you can also see the way forward that the giant has opened up to us. All right, so let's continue on. Now we are going to meet another daughter of the Witch of Izalith. And we're also going to meet another NPC, and this is actually a merchant, and I'm going to call him Eingy. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but that's what I'm going to go with. And he is a servant of what he calls the Fair Lady. And by servant, he means that he carries eggs for her, and he also tries to, I guess, do her bidding, do whatever it is that she requires. So, and this is probably one of the most tragic NPCs in Dark Souls. This is Queelana. She's also known as the Daughter of Chaos or the Ancient White Spider. And she is a keeper of the Chaos Covenant, and you can actually offer humanity to her, and she will give you pyromancies in exchange. So, and again, the reason Queelana is called the mother of pyromancy is because she takes people's and she teaches pyromancy, whereas Queelana, who is blind and who is also half woman, half spider, she will gift you pyromancies, but you need to offer humanity in exchange. And we are not going to follow this plot line, but if you explore Eingy's dialogue completely all the way through, you will find out that he had been poisoned with blight pus, and he was found by the by Queelana, and she actually sucked the poison out of him. She sucked the blight pus out of him. And the unintended consequence of that selfless act was that she became blind and her eggs became still. So her eggs probably died and she's sickly. And as a matter of fact, some in the community think that if you offer humanity to her, she will actually start looking a little bit healthier, and that Queelag is actually trying to harvest humanity to feed her sister and to help her with her pain. All right, so another tragic figure, I guess. The creation of the Chaos Flame was really bad news for Lord Dren, and also for the Witch of Izalith, and for all of the daughters, and all of her daughters. Alright, well, apparently when the Witch of Izalith created the flame, the Chaos Flame, she was pregnant, and she gave birth to a son, and he is called Ceaseless Discharge, and we are going to fight him here. Ceaseless Discharge was born with lava pusses all over his body. His sisters took pity on him, and they made a ring to help ease the pain, and the ring is the orange shard ring that would counteract the effects of lava. He's British and dumb, and he immediately dropped or lost the ring, and he dropped it down in, below and lost Izalith. And from that ring sprang forth another demon, the Centipede Demon, which we will fight later on. So this is Ceaseless Discharge, and he continues. I guess the pluses kind of ooze lava, which floods the plane below and makes it impassable. And maybe because he's British, maybe because he's dumb, the developers have scripted this event here where you don't really have to fight him in the normal way. If you sprint back to the gate and you make it there before he can catch up to you, and you wait for him, he will chase after you, and he will do a giant sort of bound or leap, and he will impale himself on the ruins or injure himself as he's trying to get you, and he's mortally wounded, and then it just takes a couple of hits to finish him off. So we're about to see that. And if you're not standing with your back right to the fog gate, you will take some damage when he slams his fist down. And you can see that he's completely deformed from interfacing with the Bed of Chaos. Now, the reason I say that the Witch of Izalith was pregnant with him at the time she was infected or engulfed by the Chaos Flame is that Queelana does not mention having a brother. So I don't think she knew, and when the flame engulfed her mother, she became separated from the Witch of Izalith and her sisters, and she never got to meet her brother, Ceaseless Discharge. Alright, so we see that when we kill Ceaseless, the lava disperses in that area, becomes passable, and that actually will lead to the demon ruins and eventually to Lost Izalith for the boss fight with the Bed of Chaos. Alright guys, so I guess the only person we haven't talked about is Eingy, and we will talk a little bit more about him in the next video, but let me sort of lay out my theories on Eingy as I get the Firekeeper soul from this area. I think Eingy is a traveler, and he was actually a heretic. Pyromancers overall are hated and despised outside of Lordran, but even within the Pyromancer group, Eingy is considered a heretic, and he is not loved, and that is because he perverted a couple of pyromancies with his humanity and his soul and his pyromancy arts, and he created a toxic pyromancy and a poison pyromancy, and because of that, he is hated. Now, some in the community think that Eingy actually is the reason why the swamp is poisoned. I don't think that that's the case. I think that actually there was another NPC that was the cause for the swamp being poisonous, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. But Eingy was definitely a bad seed, and maybe he found a little bit of redemption when the Daughter of Chaos saved his life, and he pledged allegiance to her and started serving her, and he gave up his pursuits, but he is despised by other pyromancers. But anyway, I think that before he came to the Great Swamp, he had traveled around looking for a piece of the first flame. So perhaps he was trying to do the same thing that the Witch of Izalith was attempting to do, but he needed a piece of the original flame in order to try to shape it and to try to reignite it. And I will continue this this line of thought, this theory, in the next video. Alright guys, so I'm going to get the Firekeeper Soul here. This is not obscure or secret loot, but I did want to show you how I like to get it. I like to put on the wolf ring, and I like to put on the stone set so that I have a lot of poise and I can just poise right through these dogs. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I want to move quickly and I want to get to the Firekeeper Soul as soon as possible. And with the Remedy equipped, I'm not really going to have an issue as far as being toxic, since I can just heal myself immediately. Alright guys, well, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoy this 100% lore video. This is the Tech Phantom signing off. Until the next time.